my mother, she got him tickets to Eretz Yisrael as a surprise. And my father was upset. She was like, we can go to Disneyland. He was like, why not go to Disneyland? If we're going to go on a trip, let's go to Disneyland. Why Eretz Yisrael? What like shaykhs? Right as they landed, my father burst into tears, and he immediately fell in love with Eretz Yisrael. How can we live anywhere else? It doesn't make any sense. She also knew that my father was destined to come to Eretz Yisrael. One way or other, he was going to be here, and so she was like, better make it this way, together with the family. And it was one Shabbos. He was talking about Eretz Yisrael, and she was like, you know what, let's do it. And my father was hyper. He ran up the stairs before she could say no. People knew that he was Aliyah, was making Aliyah, and someone pulled him aside and was like, I have to tell you, I'm so sorry, but all of your kids are going to go off the derech. All of them. You're messing up your family. How could you do this? But I'm going to daven for you. I was thinking, like, your kids are not going off the derech. What might happen is they're going to go on a different derech than you. My father never yelled, but I have distinct memories where he would just be like, I love Eretz Yisrael. Like, he would just start yelling, and I'd be like, very few people actually know what Satmar Rebbe, the way the Satmar Rebbe viewed Eretz Yisrael, including Satmar people themselves. There's this misconception that Satmar Rebbe hated Eretz Yisrael, and to even say this is horrible. I spoke with my grandfather, who was a very close Talmud of Satmar Rebbe. He said, I wonder if there's anybody who loved Eretz Yisrael more than Satmar Rebbe. He loved Eretz Yisrael. I think it's impossible to be a Talmud Chacham, a holy person, and not love Eretz Yisrael.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Homebound to Eretz Yisrael. I'm Tova Weichbrod, the female voice of Homebound, and we are here today with Bracha Fortgang. She has an unbelievable story. I'm really excited to interview her. She's the granddaughter of the Nicholsberg Rebbe from Muncie. Her parents were Satmar and grew up in an Anti-Zionist community. We are going to find out how her family ended up here in Eretz Yisrael. Welcome.
Hi, it's nice to be here.
Wow, I'm so excited to find out more about your story.
Yeah, sure.
When did you make Aliyah? Tell us everything.
So it's a very cool story there, obviously. So my father grew up in a Satmar community, so it was, Eretz Yisrael was not a thing, and if it was talked about, it was in a negative sense. And as I grew up, I didn't really think about Eretz Yisrael. I didn't care. And my mother, she went to Eretz Yisrael to visit her grandmother, and she loved Eretz Yisrael. And when they went on dates, one date, Satmar, she was always talking about Eretz Yisrael. That was the whole day. She was talking about Eretz Yisrael. And when they got married and they had 2 kids, my mother, she got him tickets to Eretz Yisrael as a surprise. And my father was upset. She was like, we can go to Disneyland. He was like, why not go to Disneyland? If we're going to go on a trip, let's go to Disneyland. Why Eretz Yisrael? What like shaykhs? And so they went, and before, I think right as they landed, my father burst into tears, and he immediately fell in love with Eretz Yisrael. And from there, he started his whole journey, learning about Eretz Yisrael and connecting, and my mother was like, uh-oh, now he wants to move. It took 12 years. It took 12 years for her to say, all right, let's do it. In those days, now it's different, but 12 years ago, if someone decided to make Aliyah, you were crazy. You were absolutely crazy. Like, what's wrong with you? It was not a thing. Nowadays, Baruch Hashem, it's more mainstream, and if you decide to go to Eretz Yisrael, it's more accepted. But in those days, it was insane. It was crazy. And it was a thing. My father said, like, when neighbors or friends, family came to our house, they knew they were going to talk about Eretz Yisrael. My father was going to start the conversation. And for many of these people, it was never a topic to discuss. It was never even a thought in their brain to talk about it, to think about it. And when he came to my father, all he talked about was Eretz Yisrael. My mother knew. When she saw Eim Habanim Semeicha on the night table, she was like, oh, no. He's going to talk about it again. He's going to, And
I can resonate with her.
Yeah. And the thing is, my father didn't convince my mother. My father taught her as well. When he learned something new, he's like, hey, I learned something new about Israel. And he would tell my mother. And so my mother, even though she didn't want it, she's like, how can we live anywhere else? It doesn't make any sense. And she also knew that my father was destined to come to Eretz Yisrael. One way or other, he was going to be here. And so she was like, better make it this way, wow. Together with the family. And it was one Shabbos. He was talking about Eretz Yisrael, and she was like, you know what? Let's do it. And my father was hyper. He ran up the stairs before she could say no. And
started packing.
And started planning. It took a while. we made Aliyah, so it took a while to plan everything, and it took like a year to fully get everything ready. And yeah, and he got a lot of pushback. It was very, like, my mother said that he went to a wedding, and people knew that he was moved to Aliyah, he was making Aliyah, and someone pulled him aside and was like, I have to tell you, I'm so sorry, but all of your kids are going to go off the derech. All of them. You're messing up your family. How could you do this? But I'm going to daven for you. And my father was laughing at him, like, seriously? Just for the record, none of my siblings are off derech. I'm not off derech. Yeah. Just to let you know. Yeah. I was thinking, like, your kids are not going off the derech. I really don't believe so. What might happen is they're going to go on a different derech than you. Like,
wow.
Like my father is Hasidus Nicholsberg, and then I have a brother
Wait,
that's...
he's not Satmar?
He's not Satmar. So Nicholsberg, I'll explain, my grandfather was a very close talmid of the Satmar Rebbe, and when he became a rabbi, he sort of continued his grandfather's Hasidus. My great-grandfather, how many grades? I don't know how many grades, was Rav Shmuelka from Nicholsberg. And so Rav Shmuelka from Nicholsberg was the mentor of Rabbi Zisha from Anipali. And so he sort of continued that.
Anipali? What type of name is that?
Anipali is a place in Europe.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I didn't know how to say it, and mother's like, you have to know how to say this word.
We're not going to cut that out, by the way.
And so it's like, he's a talmid from Satmar, but we weren't considered Satmar, you know?
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but my father didn't have like one Rebbe that he followed. He appreciated and respected all types. I grew up listening to speech from the Bracha Rebbe. My father was a big fan of Rabbi Aliyah Levine and Rav Kook, but then also a lot about the Satmar Rebbe, and just, it wasn't like one specific way, like we're only gonna follow this Rebbe and everyone else is not looking.
So how many kids were you when you made Aliyah, and where did you come?
So we were 6 kids, including myself. The oldest was 18, I think, and the youngest was 2. Okay, so we had the whole spectrum, all the ages, and we moved from Muncie. And it wasn't like we had a hard time. We had a great life there. We had, like, you know, the picket fence. We had a beautiful yard. We had wonderful neighbors. My grandfather lived very close by. We had a shiel. It was amazing davening. So it wasn't like we were technically missing something, but my father was just, I mean, I grew up.
You were missing something. You were missing everything. You weren't here.
Yeah, it's not like you need to be missing these important things to want it.
Right.
You know, it's just, we're meant to be here. And so, like, we just didn't feel at home. It wasn't the place for us. And so we moved to Ramat Shlomo, and those times it was not like the American community that is now. And things, we had nobody helping us. Absolutely, we were on our own. There was one person who helped us. His name was Reb Chaim. He was a very special person. But he passed away like the year after we moved.
Right.
And so we were very much on our own. And so we didn't know where to move. And so my father was like, okay, we come from Muncie. We want a big house, right? He wanted a nice view. And on Google Maps, it looks very, very close to Yerushalayim. You just, it's like so close. We didn't think about traffic and so much more. So we moved there. It was extremely lonely. Like, we had absolutely nobody. Everyone spoke Hebrew. There was one family that spoke a little bit of English, and like I was like the nebuch kid, like running around with like their daughter, and it was a very hard time. And there's a bunch of times my mother was like, wow, like, not, I don't think she regretted it, but like, cause she knew that this is where we're supposed to be, but it was very hard. We had all our family over there. We had some family here, but like far cousins, you know, 2 times removed, 3 times removed, and they all lived in Yerushalayim. So it was very much like, you know, we came from community to
emptiness,
desert, like nothing. So yeah, but what else did you ask me?
I don't remember. But how did you adjust? First of all, did you move to a Hasidic community?
No, it was No, not at all. It was more like Litvish, Israeli.
Wow. Did you find that big house with the view
We
eventually?
had a beautiful house, 2 floors. We had a beautiful view, but that's basically it. Yeah.
Were you there the entire time, or you moved?
We were there for 1 year.
Okay.
1 year, and then we needed a change, and so we moved to Yeshayahu, which is next, like by Geula, right next to my shurim, and it was a tiny house. It was a shoebox, but we were so much happier over there. We had Yiddish-speaking neighbors, and I grew up speaking Yiddish. I actually learned English when I was here in Eretz Yisrael.
Wow.
Yeah, I barely spoke English. I was like breaking my teeth speaking to cousins that spoke English, because I went to an English-speaking school, and so in order to get around, I learned English. So we had Yiddish-speaking friends over there. My mother had friends, and my mother one time she was walking down Geula, and someone recognized her and said hi. As she went on, she was like, "Oh my God, I was recognized! Someone said hi to me." That was a huge moment because we didn't know anybody. So yeah.
And you stayed there until
We stayed there for 2 years, and then we moved again. We moved to Tenuva, which is in Ramema.
in Yerushalayim.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And you settled there.
there was way better. Every year just got easier and easier and easier. We learned about the country. We learned where to, I remember the first year we were like the store that we had right next to us didn't have any plastic plates for some reason, and I was like, there's no plastic plates in Israel. Like it's done. And so we learned how to adapt. We adapted, and so yeah, we went to Nuva. We were there for a bit. It was right next to my school. It was English speaking neighbors, Yiddish speaking neighbors, and so it got easier. And then now my mother and my 2 siblings live in Aliyah, which is like right next to the entrance of Jerusalem, and over there they're very happy.
Wow. And
Yeah.
you said that your father had passed away.
Yeah, he passed away 4 years ago. He got sick. It was right after COVID. He got COVID, and he was sick for 6 weeks, and he passed away, unfortunately. Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I heard that he didn't write a book. He translated a book.
He translated Eim Habanim Semeicha into Yiddish. It was during Corona time, and during Corona, everyone was starting projects, and and he realized that the Hasidic community didn't have any svarim that spoke about Israel. It was very people didn't know anything about it, and so he decided that every week he was going to write. He made a pamphlet with a little bit of Eim Habanim Semeicha. He used my mother's pictures. She's a photographer, and he sent it out every week. Even though it was, he was working, is very busy, but this was so important to him. So no matter what, he would be up till like 4 a.m. making sure that it was written, and so and it did make a difference, and it made a lot of people wake up to the fact
People in
that
America or people here?
both.
Where did the
Both.
pamphlets go? They went to America?
So they got printed out here, but they were sent also online, like to WhatsApp groups, and
Wow.
and so and it really a lot of people who woke up from this are like, oh, maybe we should start thinking about Eretz Yisrael. Maybe that's a topic to think about. My father helped a lot of people move to Eretz Yisrael. He actually put an advertisement in the newspaper. Without my mother, nobody knew about this. We only found out by the Shiva, that he wrote in the newspaper, if anyone needs any help with making Aliyah, I'm here, free of charge. Call me at this number. And he would have people calling him and speak to them for hours. And people would come up to our apartment, and he would help them from A to Z. Everything you need to know to make Aliyah, he was there. Taxes and schools and everything. So there are a lot of people who are here because of him.
You said your father translated Eim Habanim Semeicha to Yiddish.
Yes.
Why did he choose that book? What did it mean to him? I know I've never read it. We have it in our house. My husband's read it. What's it about?
Right.
I really don't know.
So he related a lot to Rav Tachtal, because Rav Tachtal was the chassid of Minkach, and Minkach was very anti-Zionist, and he related that because he was raised in Satmar community, which was also very anti-Zionist. And so what happened was Rav Tachtal, it was Second War, and the Nazis were running after him, and he was hiding from the Nazis. And while he was going from one attic to another attic, hiding from the Nazis, he tried to figure out, why is this happening? What's happening here? Like, obviously Hashem is telling us something, we just have to figure it out. And so he didn't have any svarim with him. Like everything was based on his memory. He found sources, so many sources, to prove that Hashem wants us to come back. Hashem wants us to come back to our home. And it's actually very interesting. Like if you read Eim Habanim Semeicha, he'll say like, I'm not sure if what I'm sourcing is correct. Look it up, because everything was by memory. And so my father loved that book. He read it all the time, and so that's why he chose that sefer to translate. And like the Hasidic community can relate. Like it's not, it's a Hasidic person.
And it spoke to your mother as well.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, my father spoke to my mother,
right?
And my mother didn't have what to say. Like, there's no argument to argue. You couldn't argue with that. It's just
once you see it, you can't.
Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, exactly.
There's nothing else to do.
My mother was amazing. I mean, she had her family there, she had her friends there, but she knew what my father was saying was correct, and she knew my father was gonna be here. One way or another, he was going to be here. So,
really, she's chayil.
Yes, no, really, really. And she really, it was hard here. It was not easy. But she stuck through. And it's not funny, now that my father passed away, people think, oh, your husband's passed away, so you can come back now, right? It was all about, and she was like, no.
Wow.
I also love Eretz Yisrael. I didn't just move because of my husband. I love Eretz Yisrael. I don't want to move. I'm staying here. And my father, and something that people have asked me is, like, how come, like, everyone loves Eretz Yisrael? Like, my mother loves Eretz Yisrael, all my siblings love Eretz Yisrael. If you ask my young brother if he wants to go to Eretz Yisrael, he's like, excuse me? Did you actually just ask me that? It's because my father didn't tell us to love Eretz Yisrael. You should love Eretz Yisrael. He showed us. And we would always go on trips. Whenever we would go on the highway, going home from someplace, it'd be like, hey, I never went to here. Let's go in here and find out what's over there. We'd go to Shavim and yeshuvs and cafes and just.
So he knew the areas.
He learned the areas because he loved exploring.
Are you taking notes?
And
I would love to do that.
It's amazing. It's fantastic, and I think exploring our soul is fundamental. If you want to have your kids love Eretz Yisrael, explore. Because why should they love? I mean, they're kids. I mean, you tell them in the Torah it says it, but they're kids. They're not. They need visual.
When we first moved here, I said we were going to learn about the parsha and then do a trip on the parsha, like
yes,
whether
my father
it's
said
Ma'arsa Machpelah and Cave Rachel and whatever it is, but. Life got in the way, and the kids, and the crying, and the rain, and the cold, and it just never worked. But it's definitely my dream to like be more hands-on. Although we are plenty.
You live on a hilltop. I think.
But there's still so much history here of like who are our ancestors are. I don't know the Torah, the people in the Torah are here, so it's
worth it. It's worth it to do that.
Things to do.
And it's just that we saw it. I mean, also kids can tell if what the parents believe is true or not.
Right.
If you say, "Oh, I love Eretz Yisrael," but really you don't really care about it, they're gonna see that, and it's not gonna go over to them. But for us, my father was so obsessed with Eretz Yisrael. You couldn't get away from it. My father never yelled. My father was a very calm man, but I have distinct memories where we were just walking in traffic, being in a car in traffic, comes a noise from like construction, and he would just be like, "I love Eretz Yisrael!" Like he would just start yelling, and I remember like, "Father's yelling," but it was for a good reason. So here, this is Eim Habanim Semeicha. This is an abridged version. It's not the full thing. The full thing is like this big, but Rabbi Lichtman. Shout out to Rabbi Lichtman. He was. Here you go. He was actually one of my rabbis in seminary, and he translated into English. And when he saw that, reading a giant book is, it's not everyone can do that. He made it into a shorter version. Highly recommend.
Now, you had said earlier off camera that your family had a very hard transition. You moved with a bunch of kids and stuff like that. Now, first of all, I would like to know how you guys dealt with it, and your parents could have loved Eretz Yisrael so much, but when all their kids are struggling, how was it for them? But also, you said such a beautiful line of, you're not going off the derech, you're going on a different derech, which is, I think we need to type it up, frame it, post. I love that line. So can you explain more about that?
So my family, we did have a hard time here with schools. It was very difficult. As for me, I went to an elementary school for all 8 years. I did not like it. It was not for me. I had a hard time there. What they taught was like my father says, it's like Christianity. It's not even like Judaism, it's like this really intense, like if you wear colored boots, you go to hell,
Wait, not all schools are like that here.
Not all schools are like that. They've opened new schools.
12 years ago.
This is 12 years ago. It's very different. They're very different Eretz Yisrael. And so what helped was that I would go home and be like, Tati, I learned this really weird thing in school, because I'm a big question. I asked a lot of questions, and the teacher would get very mad at me. And so I'd go home, and my father told me, like, whenever you learn something that's really like doesn't sound like Yiddishkeit, come to me, I'll tell you. And so I basically learned everything from my father. Like, I don't remember anything I learned from school. I remember everything I learned from my father. And so that was really hard. And then when it came to high school, I was homeschooled for half of it, because I just didn't have a place to go. It was very hard. But then we found a place. It's called Orly in Bet Shemesh. And it was very different from the way I grew up. It was not Chassidish at all. It was more like, it was very different, but I loved it. It was very pro-Israel. My principal was almost like the feistiest Zionist you can ever meet. But it was amazing. And something that I wanted to say, the way your child will grow is based on what goes on at home. Like, if you focus on yourself as parents, and you do your best to raise your children in the right way, no matter what happens outside, they'll have that within themselves. They'll have that stability of what they learned at home. If that makes sense, what I just said. And so even though I went to all these different places, different schools, some of them, like, some girls weren't fully religious even, but I was so strong in myself because of how I was raised at home, that it didn't affect me, and so I really, it's not, don't think like, oh, my children are off there, oh no, what's gonna happen to my kids? Focus on yourself. I think you should strengthen yourself, work on being parents that to give your kids that, I don't know the word, that strength, to be able to handle anything that goes on outside, because you can't control that. You can control what's happening at home.
And your siblings, how do they react to all of this? So
all of them had a difficult time, but at the same time, they never wanted to go back. For the older ones, it was way harder because they were already settled in America.
18-year-old.
Yeah, my oldest brother was 18. And just letting you know, he's married to a wonderful wife, has 4 adorable kids. He's in Bet Shemesh, and he's loving it. And, it's where he belongs. And
there's hardships here. Just make it work.
Yeah, that's how life works. I don't understand that. Like, life gives you obstacles. Hashem gives you obstacles. And I mean, I would rather go through hard times in Israel than in America. Like, when I heard people were concerned about the kids going off there in Israel, I was so surprised. I was like, are you kidding me? America is like, what do you have in America? Like, America, it's, whenever I go to America, unfortunately, I still go.
We'll talk about that after.
My in-laws are watching. I don't want to.
Off camera.
Yeah. And it's like our Rav was saying, like, if teenagers want to go somewhere, they want to go out in America, where do they go? Palisades Mall?
Right.
And over here, you go to the Kfarim, and you go to the Kaisel, and you go to all these beautiful, amazing spiritual places. It's so different. I think it's way more likely that your child's going to go over there in America than over here. But then again, I don't like that I'm saying that because it's more based on
No, but
each
here
child
you
individually.
also are surrounded by like Judaism
Yeah,
and
yeah.
there's no Christmas and Thanksgiving and
Yeah, no one knows what
it's-
Christmas is here.
It's Jewish holidays.
Yeah, I mean, kids go around with shirts of like the reindeer, and I'm like, do they understand that that's a Christmas thing? And they don't realize that.
Right.
And also, like, I think that Israel has made me more connected to Hashem. Like, I mean, how
could you not be? Wow.
Jinx, like, you go around here, you walk anywhere, it's Hashem in your face. Like, you can't escape Hashem. Like, even the people who are Chiloni here, off the derech, are so connected to Hashem. You know, you'll have like the taxi driver telling you all about Hashem and what he learned in the parasha. He's not wearing kapel, he's not wearing tzitzis. He you know, like it's everyone lives and breathes Hashem here.
Right.
And I think in America it's different. Like when I go to America, unfortunately, it's so hard to stay connected. Like I have a really hard time staying with my spiritualness. I don't know. Like it's like if I've been working on something spiritually and I go to America, I feel like I just went all the way down. Like I mean, on one hand, I'm impressed with people who are spiritual in America. Like that must be really hard to be surrounded by Gashmias and yeah, Toma. It's literally Toma and be religious. Like to be honest, I think over here it's so much easier. I have way too time over here, and so like with my siblings, like they're all on different paths, all to Hashem, all leading up to Hashem. You know, my oldest brother is Shtik Chabad. My other one is Vishnitz. You know, other Chassidus. And my sister's, you know, doesn't really have like a specific Chassidus, but I think they know they identify as Chassidish.
What are you?
I'm a Yid. I'm a Jew.
Good answer.
You know, I don't like to stick to. We have one Rav. You know, we don't have a different Rav. We have one Rav. But like, when it comes to, you know, Chassidish, this and that, like, I love all of them. You know, I read about different Rabbis, and I'm like, I take from all of them. You know, the Ger Rebbe was amazing. The Satmar Rebbe was amazing. And then you have, you know, the Litvish tzaddikim, also amazing. You know, it's not. I don't like to stick to one Rebbe. And
It's beautiful.
and then, you know, my brother next to me, after me, was a Kippah Suga. You know, I know it's crazy. It's horrible. And he, you know, he's in Sfas now, and he's very. And then my youngest brother is very into Breslov. So you have all these different paths. Actually, my father, he did this thing whenever my brothers would become 13, you know, for the bar mitzvah, and they would go to the hat store. He would say, choose.
Wow.
Which one do you want? It doesn't have to be the Satmar one. It doesn't have to be whatever you want, as long as it's the path to Hashem. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And so, I mean, and I think that's so amazing. Like, I think it makes our family so colorful and in the best way possible. And no one disagrees with the other one. It's just our own way. And it's just, I love it because over here, it's not like, okay, the only way to serve Hashem is like this. You walk on the streets, there's so many different ways. Like we went to Tzas for Shabbos, and on the bus stop, I was looking around and I was seeing, there's a soldier, there was a female soldier with a skirt, completely tznius, and then there was a Shiva Bacher, and then there's Chassidish people, and all different types. And I was like, this is beautiful and amazing. Like, what? Why? Come on. Like, just come over here. Like, you'll be accepted, and no matter who you are, you will be loved and accepted here, and you can find your path. It's not one way or nothing. It's just.
This is where everyone fits.
Yes, no matter who you are, you will fit in here. You'll find someplace. Like I said, for me, personally, I'm not Israeli and I'm not American. I'm like somewhere in between. This weird. You know, at first it was hard. You know, I was like, why can't I go to like Israeli school and learn Hebrew and better and, you know, become more integrated with society? But in the end, I'm happy with who I am. And, you know, I mean, I think if I was more Israeli, I probably wouldn't get married to my husband because it wouldn't be right for him. So I'm very happy that I'm who I am. And you don't have to be completely integrated into society. You don't have to become fully Israeli in the culture and everything to survive here. Everyone knows English. Right. You know, I mean, I think it's worth it to learn Hebrew. I think it's amazing, but you don't have to. And if your kids have a hard time with it, It's not the end of the world. Far from it. Like, they'll be okay. They'll be okay. Our kids will be okay. There will be... I think coming here will strengthen them in every way possible. Yeah.
Okay, now, can you please explain the Satmar view?
I would love to. I want to say that not almost nobody, but very few people actually know what Satmar Rebbe, the way the Satmar Rebbe viewed Eretz Yisrael, including Satmar people themselves. There's this misconception that Satmar Rebbe hated Eretz Yisrael, and to even say this is horrible. I spoke with my grandfather, who was a very close Talmud of Satmar Rebbe, and when I spoke about it, he said, I wonder if there's anybody who loved Eretz Yisrael more than Satmar Rebbe.
Really?
He loved Eretz Yisrael. I think it's impossible to be a Talmud Chacham, a holy person, and not love Eretz Yisrael.
So what went wrong?
So he was against Zionism, Zionist, the Zionistic view. That's what he was against.
Now, how many years ago was this?
This was a long time ago.
Okay, so Zionim were also different back then.
Way worse. You know, talking about like was it the Yemenite, Taimani kids? Taimani?
Yeah. That what?
That, you know, they bought them to Eretz Yisrael and
they sold them and they did...
they told the mothers that the pair of babies died and they sold them to Chiloni people. It was horrible. It was way worse than now. And even now, it's not good, you know. But... And so that was all that he was against. He loved Eretz Yisrael. He actually lived in Eretz Yisrael for a year. And the only reason why he went to America was to raise money for yeshivas here and for people here. And the reason why he stayed was because he realized that if he goes back, he's not going to have money to gift people. People came to him for tzedakah all the time. And he couldn't handle that someone's going to come to him for money and he's not going to have what to give him. So that's why he stayed. I think a lot of people are going to be very pissed at me for saying this, but that's the reason, you know. And also when coming to Eretz Yisrael, he believed that if you are a religious person, if you're strong in your Yiddishkeit, you're totally allowed to move to Eretz Yisrael. Actually,
now why don't people go to the Kotel?
So the Kotel, he thought, I heard 2 points. This one I'm going to say now, I don't know if it's completely like accurate, but I heard that he was upset at, like, after all this blood and tears that we fought, like, you know, that was after the 6 Day War that we got it. We get a wall.
Right. That isn't even.
That's not even.
Beis HaMikdash.
Exactly. Like, he's like, I want the whole building. Wow. I don't want just the wall. Like, it's like the outer wall. It hurt him.
Wait. Something like that, right?
The retaining wall.
The retaining wall.
Yeah, and
the retaining wall.
So that's what I heard that, and I also heard that the Zionim at that time they saw the Kaisel as their own. Like, I see, we liberated the Kaisel, and so it became almost like a Zionistic landmark instead of being a holy landmark. And so for him, he didn't want them to go there because it sort of showed that, like, yeah, we believe you. Like, yeah, it's Zionistic. It's like, no, this is not, has nothing to do with you. This is all about Hashem. And
so because of that,
yeah, and unfortunately, this happens a lot. Unfortunately, the Rebbe had one view, and then Chassidim go and they just, I don't know how they get there, but I mean, all you have to do is just read his book, read a sefer. I mean,
he wrote a sefer?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't say anything bad about Eretz Yisrael. I don't know where they got it from, but it's against Zionism. It's not against Eretz Yisrael. Satmar Rebbe loved Eretz Yisrael. And actually, if someone came to him, a religious person who lived in Eretz Yisrael came to him, he would stand up for him.
Wow.
He had tremendous respect. And also, he sent millions of dollars to Eretz Yisrael. Millions. He did whatever he could for Eretz Yisrael.
Such a sad thing.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sad. I feel like if you want to use an excuse, you're going to find something to
like, I'm not talking to people who don't care about Yisrael. I know that no matter what I say,
right,
it is falling on deaf ears. I'm talking to those people who maybe have a bit of thinking about it a little bit. And thing is, like, there are a lot of Satmar Hasidim who want to move to Eretz Yisrael, who love Eretz Yisrael, but unfortunately it became this, it's not as, like, accepted. Meaning it's way more accepted than it was 12 years ago.
There's Satmar communities here now.
Yeah. 12 years ago, it was extremely voodoo. Like
Wow.
You don't talk about it. Now it's way more accepted. It's when everyone comes here to Eretz Yisrael. If you say you're making Aliyah, it's not as crazy. But I think there's a lot more to go.
Wow. Has any of your family members joined?
Yes. 6 years into moving here, my aunt came here. And I want to let you know this is very important. If you have support, transitioning in here is so much more easier. It can go so smoothly. They had us, and so they had a great time transitioning in. Of course, they had certain obstacles because that's life. But it had not even a drop as hard as we had it.
Wow.
Really, and they love it here, and they have great schools for the kids, and their kids are thriving here. The younger ones are already they reden azoi. They might shoot them like Yiddish, and it's so different. As I feel like if you have support, it makes all the difference. I want to say something. I don't know if you can keep it in or not, but there was a few years before we actually made Aliyah that my mother was like, okay, maybe, wasn't so sure. And they asked my grandfather, and he said, not yet, because the women have to be on board. I think both the mother and the father should be on board because, your partnership, if only one of you wants to hear, it's gonna get messy. I think it's gonna get, resentment, like you bought me, or I think learn together. The wife also needs to want to move here. And another point, actually, a very key story, is that it was while my father was still in America and learning about Israel, and he went to my grandfather and he says, I don't know what to do. My love for Israel is getting worse and worse. And he says, don't say worse and worse. Say better and better, stronger and stronger.
Wow.
All right.
Wow, what an unbelievable story.
Thank you.
I really hope that people see that Satmar view is not...
It's not what you think.
It's not what you think. Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
Just move to Israel. I'm telling you, it's so worth it. It's the best thing that my parents ever did for me and my family. None of us regret it. There's no regrets. Just do it. It's okay. It'll be fine.
Life's hard. Pick your challenges.
Yeah. Have your challenges here.
Exactly.
And also, Mashiach comes, where are you going to go? We have our houses. We have our place.
They're going to be tenting.
Yeah. I'm not letting you in my house,
Wow.
I'm kidding. But it's worth it. It's so worth it. It's the best thing ever.
Eretz Hashem.
Yeah.
EretzHashem.com.
Yeah, and read the book. It's great.
Wow. Okay.
That's it.
Thank you so much for joining us, Bracha.
Thank you. It was an honor to be here.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this interview. If you are inspired, share it with a friend. Like, subscribe, check out our website, homeboundisrael.com, and we will see you in the next one.
You didn't say chazak very much, not Klal.
Oh, that's very important.
Chazak v'amatz, and we will see you in the next one.